Hi, true crime fans. It's me, Patti Lee. We are heading towards the end of our 24th episode. We are on the flight of the court updates. So what court updates do we have? Well, we have court updates for Lori and Chad Daybell, Marcus Spanevalo, which is the alleged unaliver of Cassie Carly. Sorry, dyslexia, remember. Letecia Stauch has a little update, and there was an update about Naomi Irian. Alcohol plus dyslexia equals inability to say certain names. All right, so not that this is going to help. We have a Mom's Water, Blueberry Peach, Linda. Usually I use Karen, but somebody got me like 9 of them together, and they have different Mom's Water. But, you know, they're all sort of that mom, sort of, you know, like Karen's. Even though this isn't Karen. There is a Linda that helps with Hidden True Crime. Hidden True Crime is a great podcast. They are a journalist, her husband a psychologist, a criminal psychologist, and they have people who help them, and they have a Linda, I believe that's her name, right, who helps with the research. Okay, so what do we know about the Vallow Daybell case? Well, there were some motions filed, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, Lori and Chad are going to be in court. They're going to be in court October 16th, which they will, and I will catch you up on that when that happens. You know, not quite yet, but yeah, Mom Water. It tastes like nothing. It's you know, low calorie, low carb, low bleh. It's very beige and subtle. I would say like Lori, except we know she wasn't very subtle at the end as she was unaliving everybody around her, but she is very, you know, typical white mom. I'm just going to say with her bleach blonde hair and her there's no love lost between me and Lori Vallow, sorry. No, there's not. Yeah, so the filings. Why are they going to be in court? Well, we have some motions to hear. But what motions are we hearing? So there were some outstanding motions, but interestingly, we found out last night through Scott Reich on Crime Talk that Lori Hellis, who does Friday Night Lives with Lauren Matthias, who is the journalist, who she and her husband, Dr. John Matthias, they run the Hidden True Crime podcast and YouTube channel. And they've been mostly covering the Daybell case, and then when there's some lags, they've been covering other interesting cases in their area. But Lauren, I believe, came from a Mormon background, but not like strict, not like fundamentalist or any of this weird culty stuff that we saw with Lori and Chad. But she's aware of some of the doctrine, a lot of it, and she is, I do not believe she practices the faith, although her family is still in the faith, is from what I understand. I may have that wrong. But she understands a lot of the background because of this. And Lori Hellis is with her on Friday Night Lives, and she's an attorney. She has retired her practice, but she did, I don't know if she also, I think she might have done prosecution and defense work in a number of western states like Arizona, where some of the crimes that Lori and Chad did took place, as well as I think she has experience in Nevada, and she is now living in Idaho. She has been writing a novel. She's written other books, but she has been researching and writing a novel about the Daybell case. And in doing so, she has also used her law practice to write a very interesting brief that Scott Reich had on Crime Talk with Scott Reich last night. And it was, so if you've gone to graduate school, or if you're probably an English major, but certainly if you've done any advanced academic work, you know how hard it is to write with both clarity and conciseness, and like there's a style and an art to expressing yourself, written expression, and it's not as easily as people might think. I write like how I talk, so as you can imagine, a lot of blah, blah, blah. Lori Hellis, and when she talks on her Friday Night Lives, which I highly recommend you check out, the Hidden True Crime Friday Night Lives with Lori Hellis and Lauren Matthias, they are fabulous. But Lori Hellis has a way of expressing things like a lawyer, but also like a concerned human, and with a sense of humor, but it's clear. It is, she expresses her thoughts well. And that's not really easy to do, both verbally, especially when you're talking about a very emotional topic, like unaliving children, especially in a cult, and as well as other people. I mean, multiple unalivings. Just, she's superb on the podcast and really adds that extra layer of knowledge about the law. All right, true crime fans, my battery died right in the middle of talking about the Vallow Daybell update, and good thing, because I found out that Lori Hellis, here's to Lori Hellis, our hero for transparency in the courts. She let us know online, let everybody know online, not like me personally, but what she thinks is going to be at this hearing on the 18th or 16th. Okay, so the deal was that we all saw through filings of the court that both Chad and Lori are going to be in court in Fremont for some hearing. And everybody online, due to all the sealings, was like, okay, so is this about the consumptive testing? Are they going to talk about if they're allowed to, like how that's going to be done? Is this about Lori Hellis's new filing about transparency? So that's what I had previously been alluding to, is that Lori Hellis, the attorney who's been on Hidden True Crime, made this lovely filing that was very cogent and logical about the need for transparency in the courts. Because basically, the courts are supposed to be transparent what actually goes on the hearings, not like pre-trial motions or everything that is said, but actual court hearings. There should be people allowed in, and because of COVID and now monkeypox, Zoom, if that's how they're doing it. And the problem has been with all the sealings, and they don't unseal it, then what happened? So Lori Hellis had made a list in her outline of what she was saying, like, here's the facts, and then here's the law that supports the facts. Part of the facts were, and here's the date that this was sealed, and this hearing was sealed, and this hearing was sealed. And basically, she's the media, because she's writing a book, and she's a novelist, and she's saying, as part of public information and transparency in the system, we should all know what's going on in court hearings. Court hearings shouldn't all be sealed. There can't be, and then she listed, see, this is the thing, she didn't just say because we need freedom of speech or we have, transparency in the courts. No, she's like, because here's the list of things in Idaho that can be sealed, and, they're like personal things and things that can influence the jury. But, I mean, they're not a ton of things, and so there's no way every single hearing should be sealed. And she made an argument that, even if both sides are going along with that, or maybe that was Scott Reich's argument, but Scott Reich said, obviously the sides are going along with it because nobody's saying, no, this needs to be public. I don't believe, I want the public to see that I'm getting screwed over by the state or whatever they might feel. No, everybody's like, yeah, let's keep this all on the DL. But that's not how the court system works. It is funded by taxpayers. It is a civic activity, and the public is allowed to see what judges do. We vote on judges. How can we vote on judges if they hide what they're doing? Even though I don't know if Judge Boyce is hiding, and we don't know exactly why, but if there is a sealing, everything shouldn't be sealed for every hearing. That is not, like when it was about, obviously, Lori's mental health, that had, when we HIPAA stuff, but otherwise, it's continued. And Scott is right. Lori is a hero for bringing that up. So is that what we're going to talk about on the 16th? Well, Lori Hollis said it looks like this is consumptive testing discussion, and that's why both sides have to be there and both people have to be there, because they're basically going to lay out, this is what we're going to do, and we have to agree to how it's going to be done. Because remember, last time we talked about the Vallow Daybell case with consumptive testing, and that might have been my live outside on a Sunday when it was so hot, 2 episodes ago. So look for a porch party live. I talked about the consumptive testing then. It's the prosecution's evidence. They gathered it through a warrant. They're going to test it. But the defense, because it's part of the lawsuit and the criminal case, gets to have a representative and gets, has some say in, yes, but we want to see exactly how it's done so that we can make an argument if we believe it was mishandled, because there is not going to be enough to do a second test by our experts. So we want some expert there watching, or somebody there watching, or it filmed to be watched. So the Idaho criminal people seem to indicate, no, we don't want anybody in there. It could contaminate the test. No, we don't want anybody watching. I don't know. It seems like a little overly aggressive, because something is going to have to be watching, or there's going to be some documentation by somebody for the defense side. Otherwise, then that, again, isn't transparent, because how did you get these results? You can't just tell me you ran a test. Our side wants to know, because we can't run the test as well. All right, so that's what's going to be talked about in Fremont County in person with Judge Boyce. I don't think they're allowed to seal everything, but, who knows, right? Lori's on the case. Scott is right. She is working for all of us. So that is the Vallow Daybell update. Our other court cases in this flight have to do with, quickly, we have Marcus Spanevalo, who is the baby daddy of Cassie Carly. It's really hard because both those names seem like first names to me. That was a case we talked about. She was from Florida. They made a custody exchange, but it was in a different place than usual. It seemed like it was public, but actually it was in a remote sort of part of a parking lot on a Sunday when not many people are around, and it appears as if he was able to maybe tranquilize her, get her, and take her away. And then he unalived her when he was on his way to a rehab job he had in, I believe that was in Alabama, where they caught him, but then they questioned him. They weren't really sure. And then they found her body in Alabama, but then he had fled with his child, their child, that she was supposed to have custody of, but he had, he didn't really do the custody exchange. Instead, he kidnapped her, took her from Florida to Alabama, unalived her in Alabama. We are not sure, because the autopsy results did not include toxicology, and so it still isn't clear exactly what happened. I'm assuming they're going to find some anesthetizing agents maybe in her system, because he seems to somehow have subdued her very quickly and gotten her out of her car into the truck he was driving. And there were some long-range pictures from somebody in a condo who was taking pictures of the bay, I believe, and you can see his the trailer that he had was opened, as if maybe he just threw something or one in there. So we will find out more about that. He will be back in court. Let's see. He will be back in court in September. So again, it's taking a lot of time, and we don't know much because of the toxicology not being back. So that's frustrating, but Cassie's family, they have the little girl, Sailor. She's getting on with her life. The family is working for justice, and he's probably never getting out. So that's probably good, because he seems like a bit of an extremist that couldn't handle the word no. All right, so that was that court case. We have Letecia Stauch if you remember. She was from Colorado. She had a stepson, Gannon. She had another child with Gannon's father, and she had been from South Carolina, was a teacher, but there was some question as to her actual education level and if she was really certified even there. But she was telling people like she had a doctorate, and I can tell you, it's really hard to get one, and no, she did not. But people can lie all the time, right? They can just say they did. They don't have to say things like, I'm ABD, which means I passed all my tests, did all the coursework, did not finish writing my dissertation. Hello, dyslexia. And that's not all because of dyslexia. I was also very old when I was in my 40s when I went back to grad school, and a lot of things happened in my life. So that was like personal stuff. So I don't want people who have dyslexia to think. There's plenty of people who are MDs, who are lawyers, who are authors. It is not an impediment. But you should learn how to deal with it because organization and things can happen. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But Letecia Stauch is not a PhD in education, and she basically was a horrible person. She appeared to have gotten angry with Gannon. She unalived him, lied, said he went to a friend's and was a missing child, but instead she had driven him and I guess hid his body somewhere or kept it somewhere. And then she went on this weird road trip and he ended up in Florida. She went and said she was going to South Carolina, but really she had gone to Florida and dumped his remains like under a bridge. It was just horrific. She's a horror. No offense. This is all my opinion. This is not legal in any courtroom, but I think she's a sick human being who beat a child just because he wasn't her biological child, and and then she said she was crazy, and then she tried to escape, and then she tried to represent herself. Like, this has just been an ongoing saga of we can't get her through court because there's always some crazy lies, drama, just she avoids. So right now she has been, this was her third evaluation for mental incompetency, and she's not mentally, she's got mental problems, don't get me wrong, but she can stand trial. She knows what she did wrong because she keeps trying to get out of it, which shows you that she understands it was wrong. And she obviously hid things and lied. She knew what she had done was wrong, illegal, and knew that she was going to get in trouble. So she was competent in the legal sense. So now for some reason, her court case, I wrote this down. It was pushed off until later. I don't even know if it's in September. Where is her paper? It's been pushed off, and it's going to be at 6 o'clock at night. I think I just wrote all the court stuff randomly on a piece of paper somewhere that I have now in my ADHD, dyslexia brain disappeared. I don't know how. But I will tell you I remember because 6 o'clock at night, and it is, I think it's August 10th. It's next week, I believe. But like maybe next Wednesday at 6 o'clock at night. Odd, right? Isn't that odd? I didn't even know court met at 6 o'clock at night. Like, are they trying to do something after the 6 o'clock news? Are they going to say she's crazy and they know people will flip out? I don't know. So by next week, we will have found out what the big deal about that was. So we've taken care of that court update. And then the last court update has to do with Naomi Arian. I'm so sorry. That was the 18-year-old woman who was waiting in a Walmart parking lot for a Panasonic shuttle bus to take her from Fenley, Nevada, to where she worked in Reno, Nevada, where there was a Panasonic factory. And she had been like sheltered her whole life. Her father was in the State Department and had moved around to different foreign countries where she really didn't have a lot of independence, and so she wanted more independence and wanted to live in the States and like just have a driver's license and be free, not be on some like state compound and have a driver. And it's unfortunate. So she signs up for college, community college. She lives with her older brother in this small town in Nevada and gets a job. And unfortunately, she waited every work day, and a monster saw her waiting in her car. He walked up to her car. So basically, he's in trouble for burglary of the car. He kidnapped her. He unalived her. So he had those charges. They just came back last week with more charges, which include SA. So, and we had kind of heard about that. But so the charges started out with like kidnapping and burglary of the car, and then the murder charges came. And so this is another charge added onto it. So they just modified his indictment, and we will see him later in the fall, I believe. So they're starting to have preliminary hearings. There is still the defense, because he took her in Fenley and then drove her out into the country. He crossed a county line from Lyons County in Nevada into Churchill County, and the defense somehow wants the murder charges to be and these other charges to be, the SA charges to be in Churchill County. I would assume maybe Churchill County has less but like a less robust staff or something. For some reason they want it there, which can't be good for justice. And so far it's been denied. And hopefully we will hear more about how Troy Driver allegedly, when his trial gets going, we will cover that. That is about it for court updates. There was one, I will cover this last update more later, but there was something that went by around August 2nd. Some man, a rich dentist, who had a wife of 35 years, and they were in Africa, and there was like an accident with a gun. They were big game hunters. And then they did forensic and found out, no, he had to be like 6 feet away. So he was charged, and they were very rich. He got like $4 million in insurance, so he got insurance fraud added to his thing. Oh, yeah, and he had a girlfriend of 15 years who he's like, no, it was all good though. See, you don't understand. It wasn't a problem. My wife, my loving wife of 35 years, she knew. She didn't care. We had an open marriage, but there's no evidence to that. And so it appears so, and I just saw this quickly, but he got sentenced, and so did the girlfriend for accessory. So, and I don't know if that was in the African country in which they were hunting, or if that was in the States. I think it was in the States. I will find out more about that. But again, money, people who want to, have a relationship with somebody else than they already do. That case kind of has it all. So we will talk more about that. And that's it for our flight on court updates. That was kind of quick. I'm going to come back. We're going to pour some bubbly and talk about our 2 celebrity cases. All right. Almost finished with this week.